I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, happy Saturday. Go through my few things I'm going to talk about today because it's Saturday. A little more looser blogs I like to do here. Talk about a bunch of different topics, not just real estate. But I'll go into my mailbag first. March 12th, this one's came in. I always like to appreciate the really nice comments I get from people, emails that they've been longtime viewers and enjoying the blogs and have learned some things, and it helps them stay the course. So this was a nice one I got. Owen, I appreciate your content. Been following you since 2019. At first I thought you were too bullish on real estate. I figured there would be some kind of drop or crash because the pricing seemed out of this world. But actually, over the course of time, your arguments have held water. I really appreciate the content and insight you share at no cost. That's right. You know, I often say to people, they complain about my videos, sometimes the sound quality. I know sometimes I screw up on the mic. I'm sorry that my free video doesn't meet your audio levels, but hey, I do my best. You know, I'm in the market, I'm doing well. I would typically be nervous about being in this market, but your videos I've come to trust, and it helps keep things in focus. Great, I love these. I get a lot of these emails. People send me text messages, comments in my YouTube channel here. That's great. You know, yeah, I've had a lot of people over the years coming up to, what am I now, 13, 14 years doing this blog, but I've been bullish like this for 35 years, as my clients would attest, because I've been in Vancouver real estate now for coming up to 35 years. This is the way I've always been bullish on Vancouver real estate. But I base my bullishness on practical stuff. I've been in the market for 35 years, owning my own principal residence and then investment properties. So I speak from experience on this, that if you follow what I advocate in my blog here, what's worked really well for me over the last 30 or 35 years, both in Vancouver real estate and investing your money for retirement, is going to work perfectly well for you too. Because I've said before too, I've been in this business a long time, over 3 decades, but I learned from the best. My father started selling homes in Kitsilano in the late 1950s, so he's been in this market for a long time. And then I've had some incredible mentors, both in real estate and in the stock market, both here and New York, London, Los Angeles, that I've learned from. And then I add in the 200 or 300 books I've read over the years on the topic and the thousands of homes that I've sold. It all adds up to a lot of real life experiences, which I don't think very many other Vancouver YouTube bloggers have. So yeah, the reason I'm so bullish is because I know that this works, and it'll work perfectly for you guys. In the short term, as I've often said, all guesses are off. Who knows? Vancouver real estate could take a bad turn later this fall or this summer. Inflation rears its ugly head. They raise interest rates. Anything can happen. Prices go down 5 or 10%. But that should not worry really any of you. If you own your principal residence and you can comfortably cover those mortgage payments, which I've always said, buy your house, buy your principal residence sooner rather than later, buy a high quality home, get a good realtor, negotiate a good price, make sure that you can comfortably afford those mortgage payments. It was really important back 2-3 years ago, when interest rates were rock bottom, because then they only had one place to go, which was up. Now, you know, we're up, you know, at 6.5–7% on the variable, probably going to be coming down now. So at least you've got that buffer. And then of course, you know, the federal government put in the stress test of 2% just to cover you there as well. But enjoy the house. Don't worry if you bought the house and 2 years from now it goes down 5 or 10%. Why should it concern you? You're enjoying the house, you need a roof over your head. Same thing if you own investment properties. As long as you've got good tenants in there paying your mortgage, paying your rent, which is covering your mortgages, you're golden. Just keep it. Avoid the friction costs of buying and selling, and you're going to do incredible. Saving for your retirement is even more simple now. Just buy a low-cost ETF like the S&P 500 or the VTI or the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation Fund or the Triple Q. Buy a basket of good low-quality ETFs, and that's all you need to do. You're going to beat 90% of the active traders, 90% every year, and you'll blow them all away after 10 or 15 years. It's so simple, it hurts. It's so simple that people think that it can't be this simple. It is this simple. So thanks for these emails. I get lots of these just like this. I'm bullish because what I'm telling you to buy and hold, enjoy the house, invest your money in low-cost ETFs, get your money working for you in the equity markets. There are going to be setbacks along the way. Remember, to get the long-term appreciation, especially in the stock market, it honestly, I tell people, it is free money that's out there. It's free money, and it amazes me how many people aren't taking advantage of it. I'll say it again. The stock market is giving you free money. Hundreds of thousands of dollars will fall into your lap if you follow a very simple buy and hold strategy and index invest. Now, to get that hundreds of thousands, and my portfolio is up in the millions, but I've been investing in the stock market for coming up to 3 decades now. But to get those returns, those steady returns of 6, 7, 8% compounded year over year, there are going to be some bad and ugly years in there. That's what you sign up for. To get the superior long-term returns in the stock market and in real estate, they don't come in every year consistently. You're going to have some years in there where it's down 10 or 15%. You're going to have some years there where it stays flat for 2 or 3% and doesn't go anywhere. That's what you get. In the stock market, we get some severe sell-offs every decade. You should expect those. We're probably due for another one here in the next 18 months, I would say. But I've lived through a couple of doozies. I mean, 08, 09, I talk about it in my book, 50% drop in my portfolio, well into $1 million I lost on paper. Didn't mean anything. It wasn't a loss. I never sold a share. The COVID one was vicious. I mean, not as severe, but my portfolio lost about 35%. But the one that made the COVID one so vicious is how quick it was. At least in the financial crisis in 08, 09, it took about a year for me to bottom down there and lose 50%. The COVID one was probably over the course of about eight or 9 weeks. The good thing with the COVID one, though, is it recovered almost as quickly. So you got to sign up for those. Next one in the mailbag here. This was one that I did on the NDP, their empty promises. As I've said all along, I hate talking about politics. It is the lowest of the low. I've got to put this out there. All parties, the Conservatives, the Liberals, the NDP, the Greens, it doesn't matter. They're all completely inept. The people that are in politics, for the most part, I know this is going to sound bad, but for the most part, aren't the greatest people. Sorry. They're kind of people that can't cut it in the private sector. Politics is an easy avenue to kind of make a little bit of money, get a cushy pension, you get reelected, once or twice, and you're set for life, and they don't pay anything. Sure, for these people that get into it, it's great pay because it's either that or working at Best Buy. But nothing wrong with Best Buy, by the way. But so for them, it's decent pay. But for anyone of any smarts or any substance, what those guys get paid, that's what you don't attract the best of the best into politics. So for that reason, again, I tell you guys to vote. Always get out there and vote. But my rule of thumb with voting is they're all inept. I vote for the party that I think is going to interfere with me the least. Let me do my thing. Less taxes, less bureaucracy, smaller governments, less bloated governments. That's who I vote for. That tends to be, for the most part, over to the right side. So in Canada it would be Conservative. In the United States it would be Republican. But again, those parties are completely inept too. I put no faith in them. But this guy was talking about how we're in a bit of a conundrum here. Both sides love to complain. I think Pierre Poilievre is just another career politician. I agree, he is. Defending the status quo. He said. In BC, it's the same thing. United and the BC Conservative Party are also great at pointing out problems, but offer very little solutions. Yes, I agree with this guy 100%. Pierre Poilievre, I will probably vote for him next year only because he's the best of a sorry lot. I'm definitely not going to vote for Justin Trudeau, and I'm not going to vote for the NDP, Jagmeet, who's a champagne socialist. So Pierre is the best of a very sorry lot. I think the Conservatives would be a step in the right direction, at least because they'll get rid of the carbon tax. I think they'll stimulate more business, more growth, maybe bump our TFSA limit up to 10 or 15K. Remember, 10 years ago, we had it at 10. As soon as the Liberals got in, they cut it in half. So why? Because they want you to be relying more on them. They don't want you, these governments, these socialist governments, to be too independent. They want you to rely on them. They don't like people like me because I've insulated myself 100% from any reliance on the government. I don't need them for anything other than renewing my passport and my driver's license. Other than that, I don't need them for anything. Zero. I'm not expecting to get old age security. I don't need Canada pension. You guys should strive to do the same thing. They're all inept, these governments. Insulate yourself. Build up your own stock, real estate portfolio, get your money working for you so you don't need to rely on any type of safety net with the government, because that's when they've got you. They get you when this is the whole game plan, to get you into their kind of web that you need them for your existence and to survive and keep voting for us. So, again, I've already pointed out, socialism, the point of socialism is to make you give up on any success or upward mobility. And that's a very slippery slope to go down, in my opinion. But I agree with this guy 100%. They're all the same. Pierre's not anything great. He's kind of an angry guy, which I get it. There's a lot to be angry about with the federal Liberals and some of the blundering idiot we've got there, and some of all the scandals that we're under with the Liberal government, including this latest Arrive scam. $75 million they paid on that thing. I could have told it never worked. Unfortunately, I had to use the damn thing because I was traveling during COVID, and God, it was terrible. But agree with what you say. Don't put any reliance on government. Insulate yourself from them as much as possible. Final little thing I'll tell you guys. So, as you guys know, I've always managed my own money, my stock portfolio, my retirement funds, and I've always suggested you guys do the same thing. Do that 100 hours. Start with my book for $12 on Amazon. Read some of the books and some of the websites I promote in the back of my book. 100 hours is all it's going to take to learn the basics of getting your money working for you. It's free money, as I say, out there, provided you've got the proper strategy. Low-cost index investing is the way to go. But, when you get a portfolio as large as I have, I'm split between TD Waterhouse and Royal Direct is my two main online brokerages. And, once you get up to a certain level, once you cross the $1 million, $2 million threshold, they start calling you a little bit. TD Wealth Management and Royal Bank Private Wealth. And every year I get a call from these guys. And, why don't you maybe transfer some money to us? Let us manage your money. You've got a large portfolio. And they also want to let me know, hey, you've got access. We notice you don't use our TD Pro trading site. We gave you access to that where you can get much more robust statistics, and you can open up start trading options. We can give you some money on margin. Why don't you take us up on some of our margin loans so you can start buying more shares and more stock and start trading stock? I always tell these guys the same thing. I chuckle a little bit and I say, you know what, how you guys can help me? Give me some free trades. That's all I'm interested with you guys. I pay $9.99 a trade. You send me some free trades when I ask you, or play each other off. I'll tell Royal Bank that I'm going to move all my money to TD and vice versa. Give me some trades. They don't cost them anything. Occasionally they will. A lot of times they don't. But that's the only thing I'm interested with these guys. Slide me 10 or 20 free trades. Even though I don't trade, 20 free trades for me would last me over a year with TD or Royal Bank. I just buy. I don't sell anything, and I don't trade. I don't buy that, once or twice a month I might buy when I get the dry powder there. So, hey, 25, 30 trades is all I need, would last me a year. But, they're always pushing you into, give us some of your money and put it into our wealth management division. Of course, they're going to charge me 1% asset under management, and they'll probably charge me some trading and churning fees in there. All that for the privilege of underperforming the S&P 500. They'll never talk about that. I tell these guys when they call me, have you seen my portfolio? Most of my portfolio now, it was at 50%. I'm now up to 70% index investing. And I've told you guys, I'm slowly but surely over the next 5 years shrinking the individual stocks that I own, even though many of them have been really good to me, just to simplify my portfolio as I start to downsize my work and getting into retirement, because I want it on an autopilot. And the funny thing is that my individual holdings over the last 10 years, I've had some really good years, and I've had some huge winners like Eli Lilly and Apple and Nvidia. But overall, I've never really done the math, but I probably have not outperformed the S&P 500. I'm pretty certain I haven't. The only reason I do it is because I enjoy it, owning individual names, but half my portfolio has always been in indexes. And I'm slowly bumping that up. I'm up to about 65-70% now. In 5 more years, I'll probably be at 90% index. And that's going to be through stuff like Schwab High Dividend, the Vanguard Value Fund, the Triple Q, the VTI, the VIG, the Vanguard Dividend Appreciation Fund, and then just the old S&P 500. And then in Canada, the XIC and the XEI. And that's it. That's all it is. These guys don't want me to get into the wealth division and transfer some money. Why would I pay you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, which is what they're going to charge me at 1% and more, $50K a year to underperform the S&P 500? But this is where they get you, and this is why I own the Canadian banks, because a lot of people do put their money with them and get you into these trading accounts and margin and all that other stuff. You don't need it, guys. Keep it really simple. The simpler the better. I know it's counterintuitive, because if you watch BNN or CNBC, they'll make it sound like investing for retirement or investing in the stock market is extremely complicated and difficult, and you need professionals like us to manage your money for you. It's a giant lie. Simple works. Buffett talks about it, Jack Bogle, Peter Lynch, all the world's greatest investors will tell you that simple is what works. Don't fall for let us manage your money. Why don't you start going into our pro trading platform so you can start buying and selling. They love that because, of course, they get a little commission on the buy and a little more commission on the sell. They want you to be active, which I'm not. So do the 100 hours, index invest, keep it simple for retirement. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to all my new subscribers. I'll see you guys next week.